everyone, welcome back to Real Life Alpha. So just before we start the video, don't forget guys, the best way to support me and my channel is to like and sub to the channel. Thank you. Now onwards with the topic of the video, which is dealing with rage and anger. So this is a topic that I've seen a lot on red pill channels, and some guys, they've fallen victim of this, so we will address this. So the goal of after you watching this video is to how to address these negative emotions so that later down the road that does not bite you on your backside. And I'm also warning that this video will be addressing some hot topics, and I advise for viewer discretion. And quick definitions. So a definition of rage would be a violent, uncontrollable anger. And for anger, I would differ as a strong feeling of annoyance, displeasure, or hostility. So I would just classify rage more short-term and more intense, and anger not as out of control but lasts longer. So to understand this, we need to recognize that there is a crucial difference between man and any other animal of any other species on this planet. So the main difference that I identify is the ability to behave and to make decisions for our actions based on logic and past experiences. So when I do say man, I mean to narrow down just to the male gender, since this is way more common trait in males. And we already know how women operate. Now, just because, we as men, we have this ability, it does not mean that we exercise it at all times. I reckon that is very difficult at certain dire situations to do so. So we still are, emotional beings. We still have our emotions, and those emotions, like I said, in dire situations, they can just overcome our logical brain. And therefore, it is our duty to keep those emotions in check, in total control, to prevent, these actions that we take that are harmful to us, and we do not have a second thought about it. So this self-control of emotions is a skill set that should evolve over time, and the older the man gets, the more of the self-control he should possess. Now I want to tell a couple of short stories. One would be about my father, who went to prison, and one of his mates that he met and he became good friends with. So my father actually spent some time in the said-so big house, since he managed to get his hands on a checkbook from a client who was giving him a hard time paying for his services. And on top of that, furthermore, a few document frauds that my father also committed, contributed for his sentence. So he sent back the checkbook by post to his client and explained everything and apologized. Obviously, the guy retaliated with a lawsuit. So my father was a salesperson in an advertisement space. So you see that my father, acting out of anger to get his money, his action was portrayed by the court as wrong. So he was trying to get paid for his services, but it was not the correct way to approach him to get his money. And the court saw him as the perpetrator and the other guy as the victim in this scenario. So now the story of his mates. So this was a man in his mid-30s, and this was his first offense like my father. The biggest problem is that his offense was the mother of his wife. Now the reason for this extreme offense from him was because his wife was cheating on his back, and no one told him anything. He discovered it by following and spying his wife, since she was acting out a little bit out of the ordinary for a while, and he got suspicious. So the wife was definitely cheating, since she got caught first by her teenage son, and which, the son was bribed, multiple times with gifts for him to remain silent. So in the day of the murder, the guy, faked going to work, and he was following her. And as she was picking the said-so son from school, and he saw both of them getting into a stranger's car. Now the thing is, just before she got into the car, the guy saw with his own eyes the wife making out with another man at plain sight. He returned home to confront her, and there was a huge scandal with the name calling, the shaming language, the physical abuse, and violence. So his rage went out of pocket, and as an act of revenge, he tortured his wife 37 times with a knife. As you can imagine, it was really brutal, gory, and disturbing. As he was telling this to his mates and on how he got his sentence in the big house, it's not a surprise that a lot of prisoners were very shocked and surprised, just like you are listening now. He admitted that he acted out of his emotions and confessed what he did was wrong to the judge. He apologized to the family of the victim, of course, and to the judge, and he admitted he would take the consequences of his actions. Now, the case was closed and his sentence was 25 years. Had he not shown any regrets, he would have got a perpetual sentence otherwise. He stated in those moments that he only saw red and he was blinded by these negative emotions. Now, the other guys told him that he should have stopped before the killing. They told him that in this case, he should have chose the lesser evil with the little logic that he had at the time. And by the lesser evil, they mean, just a classic black eye and a bunch of bruises on the woman. Honestly, she had it coming. Logically, we do not need a degree in law to know that a murder is a way more serious offense than domestic violence. And just because of that detail of ending the woman's life, he went from a potential 6 to 8 year sentence as a domestic violence offender from a 25 to perpetual sentence just because of the murder. Now, I want to emphasize this was an ordinary man prior to all of this. He was completely normal, no offenses whatsoever, clean besides that. Okay, so that was an extreme example and a very sad story. However, I want everyone to realize that exercising logic prior to taking any action is very important throughout your life. I've seen some content creators on the manosphere and red pill space and some other people with these negative emotions towards women getting, reported and deplatformed. So because of this said-so red pill rage. Now, to end, it is important to step away from everything and meditate on this awareness. And this awareness needs to settle in our brains. We now understand female nature and how they operate. We do not need any justification for how women really are and why. We just need to identify what's going on and take the best action to our advantage based on our experience. Now, guys, this is Real Life Alpha. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and sub. Thank you.